Hey guys, so today we are doing a collaboration with a few other channels, and the topic is based on homesteading. And the channel that will be after us is Mainly Acres, and I will put their link below, so make sure to go check them out and all the other channels that are coming next. The other channels are Life in Farmland, Rocky Brook Farmstead, the Texas Boys, and Ozark Off-Grid Family, and Blessed Farm. And so really exciting channels. Make sure to go check them out. I'm sorry my lighting is less than optimal. We are in the midst of getting ready to move again to our last leg of our journey. And so I'm afraid our surroundings are a little rough. Not a lot of pretty background. But we'll go ahead and answer the questions. So, what influences led you to choose the lifestyle of farming homesteading? So for me, it was health reasons. My family had moved to the farm in order to be able to grow good, healthy food. We had a very large family, 7 children in our family, and with some needs for organic food. And my mom was a stay-at-home mom. She was homeschooling, and so we were living on one income, and it was not a large income, and so farming was the way that we fed our family. And so me transitioning to that as a mom myself was just a very natural thing to do. About the only time I haven't been farming with livestock and everything in my life was when I was in college, and even then I was still going out to the barn once a week to ride horses, so it's pretty deep in my blood. Let's see. What is your greatest achievement on the homestead and farm? My greatest achievement has been that I have created soil on top of our cobblestone dirt. We are in a glacial drift area, and so we've got river rocks instead of pasture land, and it was damaged by the previous owner so that we really didn't even have dirt. It was very hard to even grow weeds on our property. But with permaculture, chop and drop of weeds and a lot of maintenance, we now have topsoil, and on that topsoil we have lush pastures, and that is incredibly exciting. Also, we raised all of our own meat on 1.5 acres, plus having room for the garden and the milk goats and that kind of thing. And so we really felt, even though we only have 1.5 acres, we were able to raise everything that wasn't bread type products. We had enough land to actually sustain ourselves and grow our own food, and that was with my husband working full-time and me just doing it with a little bit of help from the girls. So I was really proud of that when we achieved that. Let's see, where do you see your homestead farm in 10 years? In 10 years, I would assume that I do very, very little to maintain my farm. I am big into permaculture, and permaculture's like battle cry is permanence and renewable systems and systems that take care of themselves. And so my goal in 10 years would be that I don't have to water anything. I will have enough mulch that even though I live in a high desert, I won't have to irrigate any of my fruit trees or my bushes, and that everything that is not an annual garden will be self-propagating and taking care of itself, and that the land, the trees, the pastures will be able to sustain all of our livestock in the summer and spring and fall without having to bring in outside sources of feed, that we will only have to bring in some feed for winter. So in other words, I want it to be an old folks farm, one in which doesn't matter what age you are, you can maintain things without having to be a young, strong, muscular farmer. Instead, you can do it at any age. Do you happen to have tips for newbie YouTubers? Yes. So many tips. Just start. If what you're actually trying to do is be successful on YouTube and make a living, you need to be doing daily video, because you learn to become more comfortable with the camera, and you learn to be less sensitive to your imperfections, whether it be your background or your camera or yourself. You learn to just get it done, and as you just get it done, you get better. If what you're trying to do is make a living on it. When we first started, I was just trying to make enough money to pay for animal feed. And if you really, really want to make a significantly, what's the word? If you want to make a significant income, you need to also be doing a lot of research and seeing what people who are doing it successfully are doing, how they're doing their titles, how they're doing their thumbnails, what topics they're choosing, their camera angles, what equipment they use. If you want it to be a relatively fast transition, you need to learn how to use Photoshop. You need to learn how to use your editing equipment. You need to understand how to get music and photos. And it can be a crash course education. It can be very frustrating at times. But if you want to be making a living like that, you have to do your research, and you spend a ton of time on YouTube, and it feels like you ignore your family, which I'm not sure, but what that price isn't a little too high, especially if you have young children. For us, it was a desperation thing because John's back was hurt and everything needed to be moving a lot faster. So the investments that we made were out of desperation, not necessarily as our first choice. So keep that in mind. For me personally, I'm trying to step back from YouTube just a little bit and spend more time with my family. I did have my intensive bursts and sacrifices that we made to make our channel grow, and I'm not sure that it's the way to go for everybody. Let's see, the next question. What was your most memorable experience on your recent travels? Our best experiences were with our YouTube fans. When we stayed in their homes, when we had meals with them. We have some wonderful, wonderful people across the country that we will never forget. And those were always the best experiences. The best meals were never in restaurants. They were always at someone else's table and giving hugs and holding hands for prayer, going to church with people. That has been our best experience, and the treasure that we will hold when we go back home. It's been our people that we love so much. Tiny homes or Earthships, which idea do you like the best and why? Oh, that's a hard one. I love the Earthships because so many places that you can afford to live don't have good water, hard to get a well in, wells are expensive to drill, and the idea of being able to grow your food in your own home fascinates me. Also, oh my gosh, just the systems that come with Earthships I think are fascinating. And they've been doing them I think for 40 years now, so I think they have shown that they have longevity and that the systems can work. I'm a little leery about the dirt just because I haven't seen lush growth in any of the Earthships yet. I've seen people like dabble in growing things, but I haven't seen them produce a significant amount of food out of them, and I wonder why. I wonder if there's something wrong with that filtration system. I just saw a needle on my floor. Sorry. I have not seen lush food systems in there. I think that their ventilation system with the tube that goes underneath the hill and then comes up and goes out through the window, and the blinds and everything, I've seen some amazing Earthships. But as a food production system, that one, it kind of gets me. And that's supposed to be one of the big things that they're like pushed for, is that they can grow their own food. I just haven't seen it done, which doesn't make any sense to me. If it's possible, why haven't they done it? Why am I not seeing it? Do they not know how to grow food? Or is there something wrong with the system? In the desert, I think that Earthships are fantastic. I wonder about them in a place like Florida because of like all of the fire ants and bugs and stuff that would be in the soil. Would you have a lot of infiltration in from the outside of critters if you're in an Earthship? Tiny houses, right now we are in a tiny house. This one is just under 500 square feet. And I love it. Everything that I thought I would love about tiny houses, I love about this house. It's small enough that when you want to clean it, it takes 3 minutes. Everybody has their little job. 3 minutes later, everybody's finished. If you have enough storage, then I think it's a wonderful place. If your storage is original, if it's about storage, and the way that you have your layout in your house if you're going to live in a tiny house. I love a tiny space as a house because then I spend most of my time outdoors. And my favorite feature of a tiny house is to have the laundry in the kitchen, because then you can be doing laundry and you can use those surfaces. When we lived in our first tiny house, we used the top of the washer and dryer as the place that I put my canning jars when I was done canning. It just gave us an extra surface, but it kept all the mess in one localized space. Am I in love with tiny houses? I'm so in love with tiny houses. I'm not as in love with the new movement of having them cost $80,000. And I am concerned that I see a lot of tiny houses that are not well designed. And So to me, I don't think it's a fad because I think people want less stuff and they want less debt. And I applaud that, and I see that it resonates really well with my heart to live in a tiny space. And at the same time, I feel like if you were a bigger family than us, being in under 400 square feet would be really, really hard. This is just under 500 square feet, and we don't have a bedroom for the girls. We could figure out a bedroom for the girls, but it would take some major reconstruction type situation. If you wanted a significant amount of food storage, you could find ways around it. You could put boxes of food storage under the beds. You know, beds are great for storing food storage into. There are options. You could have a little tiny shed off to the side where you keep your food storage. I think food storage is really important. Us not having food storage has made life a lot more expensive than it was at home. But I do think, I love that tiny houses leave your time open for projects. Here's another thing though. I would say if you're going into a tiny house to save money and also to spend more time with your family and have good homesteading projects, is get rid of your cable and be careful about your internet consumption, because even in a tiny house it's really easy to have your time stolen by impulse buys and by mindless entertainment. And it's something I really struggle with. We actually didn't hook up internet here because I was trying to get away from the internet, and I see that it's a constant temptation for me to be distracted by entertainment rather than instructional videos. And so I think even if you can't get into a tiny house right now, maybe you know, look at your entertainment and see if even in a bigger house, if you don't have more family time and less purchasing, if you get rid of those distractions. So let's see. And so Mainly Acres is right after me, and the question that I would like to ask is, what kind of YouTube channel do you love to watch? Because for me, I love to watch new, innovative permaculture videos. Those are some of my favorite, whether it be with livestock combined with permaculture or gardening permaculture. Those are my favorite types of videos to watch. It's just innovation and people doing a lot with a little. So Mainly Acres, I would ask, what is your favorite type of YouTube video? So make sure to go check them out, and I will put the link below, and make sure to watch the progression of these videos, and we'll talk to you later.